brother Johnny
Johnny Aborigine, yeah.
Johnny Aborigine.
And me and Johnny Aborigine, we're around the same age, and he kept me on my toes, like, because he was more his platform was much more organized, I would say, and he had a ton of information, He's another one that doesn't get as much praise, but shout outs to Johnny Aborigine.
Definitely. I had went to New Orleans, and I went down there and I sat with him, and I filmed a documentary on him, and he took me through New Orleans. But one of the things we talked about was his format of how he put out his information. How did you decide on your format of putting your information out? Because your information is still floating around here. He did it kind of in meme forms with, and put his, he would put his name on it, so that's how we knew who it was. Him, Sci-Fi, you. These were the names I remember seeing, all the information. How did you decide on, I'm going to put the information out this way?
Well, first, the first platform was YouTube. That was the most accessible. That was the most accessible site that would, get a lot of attention onto the information. I wasn't really on social media like that. Like Tyrone Street, Sci-Fi, Johnny Aborigine, so on and so forth. But with the help of them and everyone else, sharing and screenshotting and, saving the photos and just putting it out there, that's what kind of, I didn't have to do much work. I didn't have to do much work to put all the information out there like that.
That's beautiful, man. I definitely appreciate all your help with the information you was putting out here, man, because I have seen your work for a long time. So I definitely appreciate that, helping a lot of us. And I think a lot of us have to find ways, whatever your gift is, man, find a way to create this information to get it out to our people. Because with me, I'm pretty much into the filming aspect and things like that, the visuals. So I feel like it's very important that we start getting this information to the TV screens, to our, and things like that on these platforms and stuff. Filming our own movies about our own stories, short films, things like that, whatever it takes. You feel what I'm saying? Because too many people have been telling our story, but if we have cameras and if we're able to, tell our own story, why would we keep letting people tell our story for us when we can get together? We have so many intelligent people right around us that are writers, they're creative, they're actors, they're musicians, all of that. We could be doing our own stories, telling our own stories. So that was a big part of me doing the docuseries. I said, we got to start telling our own story, man. We can't keep letting people tell us our story how they want to tell us our story to us.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? When this ain't what my family said, and this ain't what my genealogy say. You feel what I'm saying? I can't keep letting y'all tell me my story. So that was a big part of what I wanted to do. So I think that's very important that we start stepping into that ourselves. Kerry Davis.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, talk to me about your inspiration. What made you step into starting to go hard? I know, you were one of the early ones on social media putting the information in.
This information has been out for years.
Right.
It just went ignored, and like 1000 said, it's the timing. I just came on and happened to hit just when this whole social media thing was taking off. So, but before that, I was learning all this stuff where I grew up in LA. We had this sister named White Eagle, and hardly nobody listened to her she was crazy to the community, but she was telling us. I mean, she was, showing us how to start fires, make tents. Well, what do you call it when you get in the tent? The tent is over your head and you put the rocks in the tent. What do you call that? You like, it's like a sauna or something. She was teaching us that stuff, but we really didn't get it because, like you said, that African root stuff was, really in effect. And so somehow, got pushed to the Pan-African side. So one day I'm in the Pan-African, and these cats, like 1000gohead says, it's timing, man. And that's something we got to get back on, the timing. You was hearing these cats talk and they weren't making sense. Then when you asked them questions, they wanted to kick your ass. They was pissed off because you was asking questions, kind of the same way today. So I'm in one of these sessions one day, and this brother goes, "Hey man, have you heard of this sister named Radine Amin-Ra?" I was like, "No." He said, "Man, check her out. She's talking," and he had her book, 21st Century Black Americans, something like that. So I'm one of those persons, I'm in the belief, if I can get to the person and meet them, it's better because you can learn a hell of a lot more, talking to the person instead of just taking their information and putting it out there, and you're putting it out there with the Pan-African stuff, the no-tep stuff, the Hebrew Israelite stuff, and it just confounds everything. So she was in West Virginia at the time. I went to go sit with her for a while, about a couple of weeks. And man, that's how the information, that's how I got it, and then I just started sharing it.
Speaking of that, speaking of the sister, tell us her name again, so we can definitely give her credit. I forgot what you said.
Radine Amin-Ra.
Radine Amin-Ra. I just actually reached out to her on Facebook. I got to go see if she got my message. But I did reach out to her because my cousin SLIMBULL had been posting for years now these Choctaw, not Choctaw, these surnames of the I think it's the 5 civilized tribes or whatever, or the 5 tribes or whatever. He had been posting these surnames, and it's a lot of what it looks like if it's a roll call in homeroom. You get what I'm saying? A lot of the names on there that our people went by: Williams, Smith, Bennett, things like that. These sound like names that that we would hear in roll call, in homeroom. Now, I had asked my cousin, where did you get these names from? And he had mentioned 1000gohead. He had got the information from 1000gohead. Then 1000gohead came on and he showed us the sister's book. So my cousin, he went right away and he ordered the book. So he showed us the source of where he got these names from. And, I think it's very important that we have a conversation about these names, because so many people have told us these are slave names. These names come from slaves. So when it comes down to these surnames of our people, can you both touch on that topic? Whoever wants to go first. Even, if y'all tell us how y'all, or you told us how you came across a sister. I know 1000gohead, you got the book. I don't know if you ever met her or talked to her, but
no, never met her. I would like to meet her one day.
I would too. I actually reached out to her though. I actually reached out to her, and hopefully I can get the sister to be a part of our story season 2, and talk to us about these surnames and things in the docuseries. So I'll keep y'all posted on that. But yeah, tell us about these surnames and what we should know.
Well, majority of the time, when we speak about our surnames or our last names, they always remind us that our names are associated with slavery. Like, that's the one key thing that they want our culture to be synonymous with. They want us to be synonymous with slavery in every aspect, including our names. But when you look at these names, you have English, Scottish, Irish names. These people during that time frame were not in a position to be slave masters. And the list of names that you see on the 5 civilized tribes, you got hundreds, thousands of names, and not every single person on that list could have been, this one big slave dealer that just enslaved everybody. But when you do the research, and it's all about the time and location of where your people was located, whether it's Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Carolinas, Tennessee, wherever your people was located, in these names being associated with tribes. And that's the part where we're trying to, share to people that our names are more than just what we've been led to believe. And I believe a lot of this narrative that our names derive from slavery, you had plenty of people that associated our names with slavery, like Malcolm X. Yeah. Malcolm X was a figure who disassociated his last name, Little. He, disassociated with it and took on a new name. Well, what Malcolm X and many other people, in the Islamic religion, they don't tell you that the name Muhammad is associated with slavery to the max. Like, that name alone is associated with millions of slaves, yet no one reminds the Middle Eastern that their ancestors are slaves. No one associates that name Muhammad with slavery. But if you look into the history of that name, is
very much slavery.
We're taught, it's very much. It's millions of people. There were eunuchs named Muhammad. There were eunuchs named Muhammad. So here you have it, whether your last name is Davis, Page, Williams, Smith, Johnson, or whatever, we have to find out what's the association with these surnames and how does it apply to us today.
Kerry, you want to jump in? You want to dealing with the surnames? You want to answer anything on that?
Yeah, to piggyback on what 1000gohead said, unlike the slave story that's given to the Americas, the slave story that goes on over there in the Middle East with the Arabs and all that, you actually have images of slaves on boats with those people. Ships, thousands of people from Africa on slave ships going to wherever in the Middle East they're going. There's actual pictures floating all around. With the names, I think a lot of times we have to really pay attention to what's said, because we've been given a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. Example, we're not tribal people. We're not animals. These are words and these are concepts that we're taking from them. So when people always say you got to do your research, what gets us caught up is we're just going back reading what they wrote. And we think what they wrote down is the gospel, like the Bible. It's not. You got to think about it. You got to think about it. We're nations of people. I'm gonna get to the names, but I gotta say this because this is very important, and this is what throws us off a lot when we say the 5 civilized tribes.
Right.
How were these tribes civilized when everybody else was savages? Demons, black, whatever. The 5 civilized tribes is them trying to tap into your shit. That's all that is. You have thousands in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, names of people. You took me to one, Etowah.
Right.
Who were they? Who were the Etowah?
It definitely wasn't them.
It wasn't them.
It definitely wasn't.
So here in Birmingham, Alabama, and I asked everybody here this, and we're gonna have to deal with reality if we're ever gonna get out of it. And we don't like to deal with reality. Right, going through Birmingham, there's an exit called, and it stretches all the way to Georgia. It's called the Tallapoosa. Who are the Tallapoosa? Who are they? I don't know. You got thousands of names. You don't even pay attention to them because you try to pay attention to New York, Cleveland, Los Angeles, San Francisco. These are the foreign names that we pick up and we try to identify with, which keeps us stuck in what we're stuck in now. The names of your people, the names of the nations that they come from, they're right in front of your face.
So, with that being said, I think it's very interesting, right? I think it's very interesting that when we look at these names on these lists of the tribes, right? We see a lot of names that we would hear in our regular roll call at school, right?
Yes, sir.
So we talking about Washington, Davis, like these were names we heard every day. So if this was the Native Americans' name, why don't we hear too many of their names? You know, why aren't these names attached to those natives? You know, because
they're from somewhere else.
Exactly. And they have totally different names. These aren't the names you're going to hear attached to Native Americans if one of them was sitting in your class.
You know what it sounds like you're doing? You know what it sounds like you're doing? Which we don't get a lot of? It sounds like you're thinking.